Let's be honest, it's a feeling we all dread. That sound of dripping water when no faucets are on, or that awful moment you step on the carpet and feel a cold squish. Yep, water damage. It's a total nightmare. It's messy, it's stressful, and it can happen to anyone. But what happens in the moments right after? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and walk through the whole thing, step by step, so you can feel prepared, not panicked.
So let's just jump right in. Picture it. Your home is flooding right now. Do you know what the game plan is? Because those first 24 hours, they are everything. What you do or what you don't do in that first day is literally the difference between a quick fix and a full-blown financial disaster.
So, where does a disaster like this even begin? You know, it's usually not some slow, mysterious drip. More often than not, it's a sudden, dramatic event that comes from something you probably use every single day.
And that's what's so wild. Look at this list. These are the usual suspects. We're talking about pipes that burst in a winter freeze, that trusty old water heater finally giving up, or the washing machine hose deciding it's done. It could even be your air conditioner getting clogged on the hottest day of the year. These are just normal parts of our homes that can, suddenly cause thousands of dollars in damage.
And local conditions can really crank up the danger level. I mean, take Garland, Texas, for example. They have this clay soil that swells up when it's wet and shrinks when it's dry. Imagine what that does to your home's foundation and the pipes underneath it. You mix that with some older houses and some serious Texas thunderstorms, and suddenly the risk is very, very real.
All right, so the water's loose. Now what? Well, from this moment on, you are in a race. And I mean a race because the water isn't the only enemy here. The real enemy is the clock.
And this timeline shows you why every second is critical. Within just a few minutes, that water is soaking into your drywall like a paper towel. A few hours go by, and now that drywall is swelling up and your wood floors are starting to buckle. But here it is, the big one, that 24 to 48-hour window. After that, mold spores, which are just floating around in the air all the time, find that wet spot, activate, and start to grow. And that, my friends, is when a water problem becomes a much, much bigger health problem.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? How fast you act directly determines how bad this is going to get. A quick response might just mean drying everything out. But a slow response, that almost always means tearing out walls, floors, and starting a major rebuild.
So what does fast actually mean in the restoration world? Well, it means this number, 60. That is the target in minutes for a professional team to be at your door after you hang up the phone. Just 60 minutes to get there. Stop the damage in its tracks and start turning things around before they get worse.
Okay, so the team arrives. What happens next? Let me tell you, it's not just a bunch of people showing up with mops and fans. This is a highly scientific operation. It's all about bringing a controlled, methodical process to a totally chaotic situation.
The entire playbook really boils down to these three main stages. First, they have to assess the situation and get all that standing water out. Second, they start the super important drying process. And finally, when everything's dry, they put your house back together again.
And that first step is maybe the most important because it's all about finding the water you can't see. Think of it like an iceberg. The puddle on your floor is just the tip. The real damage is the water that's hiding inside your walls or under your subfloor. That's why the pros use gear like infrared cameras and moisture meters to see exactly where the water went without having to guess.
Now here's something most people don't think about. Not all water is the same. The pros have to classify it right away. You've got Category 1, which is clean water, safe from a broken pipe. Then there's Category 2, gray water, which is a little dirty, maybe from a washing machine. And then you have Category 3, or black water. This is the really dangerous stuff, like from a sewage backup. Each category demands a totally different approach to stay safe.
So how do they know what to do for each situation? Is it just a gut feeling? Nope. They follow the industry Bible, which is called the IICRC S500 standard. It's basically a massive rulebook that lays out the official procedure for everything, from how to handle black water to the exact moisture percentage your drywall needs to be before it's considered truly dry. This ensures the job is done right, every single time.
So, all the water is gone, the damage has been mapped out. Now comes the really cool part. Getting your home completely, scientifically bone dry so the real repair work can begin.
And how long does that take? You might think it takes weeks, but get this. With all the professional gear, they can usually dry an entire structure out in just 3 to 5 days. If you try to do that with a few box fans from the hardware store, it would take forever, and you'd basically be rolling out the red carpet for a major mold invasion.
And this right here is why it's so much faster. It's a question of equipment. It's like comparing a garden hose to a fire truck. Your shop vac is no match for their truck-mounted extractors, and just opening your windows can't compete with a whole grid of giant air movers and dehumidifiers creating a powerful drying vortex in your home. And only when those high-tech meters confirm that everything is officially and completely dry, that's when the last phase can kick off. This is the reconstruction. We're talking new drywall, new floors, fresh paint, all of it done to make it look like the disaster never even happened.
Okay, so we've seen how the pros handle it, but let's rewind. It's minute 1. You just found the water. What can you do to help before the cavalry arrives? These next steps are absolutely vital.
First things first, safety. If you can do it without putting yourself in danger, find your main water shutoff and turn it off. Then go to your breaker box and kill the power to that area. Get your photos, your family heirlooms, anything valuable, and move them to a dry spot. Here's a great pro tip. Tear off some aluminum foil and stick it under the legs of your furniture. It'll stop the finish from bleeding and staining your carpet. And, this is huge, take tons of photos and videos of everything before you move it. Then, make the call.
And speaking of that call, let's talk insurance. The good news is, most policies cover sudden and accidental water damage, like from that burst pipe. Where you can get into trouble is with slow, gradual leaks from a lack of maintenance. This is why all that documentation you just did is so important. It's going to make your claim process way smoother. Plus, a good restoration company will usually work right with your insurance adjuster to handle the paperwork for you.
So, we'll leave you with this thought. Knowing the playbook, knowing what happens and what to do, it takes you from a place of sheer panic to a place of control. A water emergency is always going to be a race against time, but when you understand the rules of the race, it's a race that you can absolutely win.